Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name's Timster. Today I'm going to be going over how to add fireflies to your games in the Blender game engine. So typically what these are just some random sort of moving dots that go in random directions, sort of do what they want, and then they'll go ahead and disappear once they've reached a certain distance from the source. So that's what we're going to be doing in this tutorial, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'll do is go to File New, open up a new blend file. Then within here, I'm going to go to Blender Game, scroll down, GLSL, and an animation frame rate of 60. So this right here is going to be our spawner, this cube here. So we're going to go along to the object settings, and let's just go ahead and call this spawner. Then under the materials, I'm just going to leave all of that, and I'm going to go straight to the physics. Then here, no collision, and we'll just leave it visible for now. Right, so the next thing we want to do is go over here to layer 2, and then when we're on layer 2, we want to press Shift A and add ourselves a plane. Now this right here is going to be no collision as well, and then once we've got it, set it to no collision, we'll press Tab to go into edit mode. You can just do it down here, and then press Shift D, RX90. Press Enter, and then Tab to go out of edit mode. Alright, and it should look something like that. Then we'll go along here and call this Firefly. And then we'll give it a new material. And turn off specular, turn off back facing so we can see both sides. And then if you want to, you can change this to add. Otherwise you can just leave it as opaque. I'm going to choose shadeless as well. And then I'm going to scroll down here and turn transparency to nothing. Then I'm going to go in the texture tab, add a new texture, image or movie, scroll down, choose alpha, and then I'm going to open up a particle texture. So this particle texture here, I'll leave a link down in the description below if you want to go ahead and get your own, but it's really simple to make. Basically what you do is you just go into GIMP or Photoshop and you just set up a radial gradient so it goes from the center outwards, and yeah, that's about it. You can even paint your own if you want to. But yeah, either way, it'll be in the description if you want to go ahead and get it. Anyway, back in this window here, I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, A to deselect, A to select everything, U and unwrap. Then I'm going to press Tab to go out of edit mode. And so now if we go over here to texture view, we should be able to see what it's done. Now it's unwrapped them strangely, so I'm going to press Tab, and then I'm going to press U and reset to just sort of set them back to default. Then Tab to go out of edit mode, and something like that looks good. Cool, so there we have our particle, which is looking great. So now what we need to do is add some logic to it to get some random movements. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go up here to game logic. Then we can change this back to textured. And over here, what I want to do is add myself a random sensor. There we go. We're going to give it a random seed. This can be any number. And we're going to set a true pulse of, let's say, maybe 8. And then over here, I'm going to add an AND controller. And I'll add myself a NAND controller. Now basically what this is going to do is it's going to send random pulses of on or off every 8 frames through these. So if it is true, then this one will activate, and if it's not true, then this one will activate. So most of the time this one will probably be activated, which means that we'll have to sort of reduce the movement for this one. But either way, we're going to go ahead and add 2 motion sensors, motion actuators, sorry, and then join those 2 together, minimize both of those, and over here we want to get some random rotation going. So I'm going to do on the z-axis, and I'm going to have it moving that way. So basically they'll have it moving either one way or the other way. Alright, so here I'm going to say add 7, maybe something around 5, and then this one here we'll do a little bit lower because it'll be triggered more often. So let's say, actually we want negative 3. Alright, so those 2 are done, and now if we press P, you see we get some sort of random backwards and forwards turning going. Cool, so if we set that up right, I'll just have a look which one it is. Alright, so what we need to do is maybe turn that up to -5. Alright, so it's a little bit more even. But apart from that, I think that should be good. Cool. So now we just need to get it moving forwards. So we're going to add ourselves an always and add a motion and then have it moving in that direction. So on the x-axis. So there we go. And as you can already see, we're getting some fairly random movement from it already. Now the sort of how often it moves might be a bit much for you, so you can turn up this delay here and it will do it less often, so something like that. We might also want to turn up the velocity so it does a little faster. I'm just going to say 0.25 right there. And there we go. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is maybe we'll give it a bit of variation. So maybe make that one -6. Alright, something like that. Cool. And then maybe we'll turn it back up to 0.3. Then also what I'm going to do is, at the moment, you'll notice it only moves on sort of flat axes. It doesn't move up and down. It just moves side to side. So we're going to go ahead and add some up and down movement. So over here, go under the sensors, add a random. Again, a random seed, true pulse, and let's just make it, yeah, something around 10. So 14 should be fine. Alright, over here, we're going to add 2 motions again. And then over here, we'll add an and a NAND controller, so not AND. And then that one goes to there, this one goes to here. We want it to rotate on the y-axis, so up and down as well. So maybe 3 or 4, let's just say 3, and this one can be, yeah, -3 or something. Alright, cool, so now we'll press P, scroll out a bit, and you'll notice it has some sort of random movement as it goes, which is cool. So it's going down quite a lot, so what I might do is turn that to -2 instead. Try that again. So I think actually we are getting the wrong rotations, so let's just try that out. Yep, so what we think is up is actually down, so let's go ahead and swap those out and move that one down. Alright, so the top one with the AND is negative, so let's make that -0.4, and this one here will turn down to say 2. Alright, and try that out, and there we go. Now, technically, if they're sort of burning particles, then you'd have them going up a lot more than they'd be going down. So maybe if you want to turn that, I don't know, to 1, and you'd probably turn that to, say, -8 or something, depending on how fast you want them moving up. But again, that's up to you. So I think that should be about it for the main setup. We now have our one particle that moves in random directions. What we might also do is under the always here, we might go ahead and turn up the movement again. 0.35. Oh, 0.35. And then what we're going to do is go over to layer 1 here. To our spawner, we're going to add an always on a true pulse. And let's just say 2. As the frequency, and over here motion. Then we're going to give it a random Z rotation, so it's spinning constantly and shooting them out at random angles. And then also what we're going to do is add an edit object, join that together, and then in here choose Firefly. Now this, probably a good time is around 60. The longer you leave them in, that might cause more lag for your game. But again, sort of up to you and how many you're spawning in at a time. So if I press P, you can sort of see what that does. There is a slight problem with using this here, and that is that some of the rotations result in weird sort of shapes and stuff. This one here looks a little bit more random, which might be more suitable. I think if you keep it under 100 most of the time, it works quite well. I found the best values are usually around 50. So 50 something works quite well as a sort of random way to go about it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn down the frequency to 1, and hopefully we might need to turn this up here. There we go, it's a bit more random, but you can sort of see what that's doing, and we're starting to get some pretty cool looking fireflies going. So most of the time for this, I think a frequency of 1 should be fine. You can also go along to the physics here, turn it invisible, so you can just have fireflies by themselves. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, let me know with a like or comment down below. Just thought I'd show this to you guys as I thought it was pretty cool and pretty useful. But apart from that, hope you enjoyed the tutorial again. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.